Hey friend, it's Heather. Welcome back to Your Radiant Spirit. Today's episode is a little personal. It's about frozen waffles, parking lot moments, and unexpected reminders that God is still listening, even when we're not sure He is. If you've ever felt your prayers were floating into space, or you've wondered whether God still speaks, this episode is for you. I like to say I'm a student of the Bible, but honestly, I'd probably give myself a kindergarten grade. Even as a kid, you could find me in the religion section of the library trying to understand who or what God really is. And now at 44, I'm still in that same classroom, just with a few more wrinkles and maybe a little bit more wisdom. And there are some days where I feel so connected to Him, and other days it's like the line is fuzzy. On the hardest days, I sometimes wish God would just shout at me, or He would just say, "Heather, do this. Go here. Stop worrying." And recently I was having one of those days. I was feeling sad and tired. I was spiritually foggy. I stopped for gas and I used my 20-cent Harris Teeter fuel discount. I said a tiny prayer because every little bit of gratitude counts, right? I said, thank you for the gas. I said, thank you for the discount. After that, I headed to the store to get some vodka sauce. I had some leftover salmon and shrimp at home and I just needed something comforting. Nothing fancy, just something rich and warm. And vodka sauce with salmon and shrimp over some pasta sounded perfect. As I was pulling into the parking lot, I saw a friend I'd actually been trying to connect with for a few weeks. We kept missing each other, but all of a sudden, there she was. She was in the middle of a conversation, and I almost didn't interrupt, but something nudged me. So I walked over, I tapped her on the shoulder, and she gasped. She said, "Oh my God, we were just talking about you." This completely blew my mind. It turns out that she and her friend had been having a deep conversation, of all things, about faith and whether or not they believed and what that even meant. And my name came up. My name in a conversation about faith in a grocery store parking lot. So we share a mutual friend who's a psychic medium and has a Master of Divinity, and she's been a guide for me over many years as I've moved from corporate HR to full-time intuitive artist. And it's been a journey of understanding God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit in a new, deeper way. And yet I've recently felt like I've been sort of burying my talent, just like that parable in Matthew 25. So this moment felt like God, I want to say whispering, but maybe it was a shout. I felt like He was saying, "I see you. You're still on the path." We kind of laughed and talked about our groceries. One of us had thawing shrimp, one had frozen waffles. But standing there talking about faith and God and life, it wasn't just a parking lot conversation. It felt like divine timing. It felt like a reminder that God does speak. Not always through a voice or a verse, but sometimes through a friend you weren't expecting to see. Maybe He doesn't need to shout because He's already there, in the quiet, in the tiny nudges, in the vodka sauce aisle or the frozen food section. This moment reminded me why I do what I do, why I paint the way I do, why I care so deeply about helping people connect with the divine through color, through energy, through creativity, for healing, for love, and for support. Art is my way of having conversations with God and helping you have yours too. It's how I use my, quote, talent, not to bury, but to bless. So if you're feeling spiritually wobbly or like you've misplaced your connection, maybe just look around. Is there a friend you've been meaning to call, or a color that keeps showing up? Maybe a whisper in your spirit that says, pay attention, or go to the grocery store now, not later. I believe that God is always moving. And I also believe that we're not alone in this journey. And we don't need to figure it out all at once. And we don't need to have all the answers. Sometimes it's just as simple as showing up, whispering the little prayers of gratitude, stopping to buy the frozen waffles. And the rest, I think God will meet us there. If this story touched your heart, I'd love for you to join me in exploring these moments more deeply. I send out a monthly color energy forecast, reflections on faith and art, and creative tools to help you connect with spirit. You can sign up for my newsletter at heathereck.com. And if you loved this story, please share it with a friend because maybe they need a little reminder today too.